first interviewed, we've senior captain of the varsity football and varsity basketball team and four-year veteran, Nikkos Kovanes. So first question, what first sparked your interest in football and how long have you been playing football?
I remember in third grade, going into third grade, my dad asked me, did I want to play? And I said, sure. I wasn't skeptical about it at first. I was scared I was going to get a concussion. But I ended up liking it. Nothing more than that, really. It didn't really do much for me at a really early age.
And going off of that, what other sports did you play growing up?
I played football, basketball, and baseball. Baseball, I quit that in fourth grade. I was pretty bad at it. And basketball was kind of my main thing at an early age, so I played a lot of AAU, things like that. So basketball was really my first love.
Did your dad also spark your interest with basketball, or was it mainly football?
Honestly, I don't entirely remember what sparked my love for basketball. I just kind of picked it up at an early age and liked it when I started playing in leagues when I was 4 years old. So yeah, that kind of just developed pretty early.
So with basketball and football, many people know that you developed pretty early, which helped you stand out athletically. How did that help you build your passion for both football and basketball?
I'd say my love for basketball came before I grew bigger than everybody earlier. So the love of basketball was kind of natural. Me developing and being bigger than anybody kind of just helped me stand out more, so I became more noticed. With football, I didn't really develop a love for football and a passion for it until about 6th, 7th grade. So at that point, it wasn't. I wasn't entirely bigger than everybody. So football, me developing early didn't affect football all that much.
And in 7th and 8th grade, you played up. So in 7th grade, you played on the 8th grade team. In 8th grade, you played on JV, correct?
Yes.
And was that helpful to kind of build your skill for football because you were playing at higher levels at a younger age?
It did. It helped a lot. It also kind of opened my eyes to I could possibly have a future at football more so than basketball.
How long has it been a goal of yours to play collegiately, and when did you realize you had the potential?
Playing in college was always a dream. Of course, at an earlier age, I wanted to play college basketball than NBA basketball. But that was pretty much just a dream. I was in lower school, middle school at that point. Once I reached high school, the transition to football came, and freshman year, I got really excited when football season came around, and not as much when basketball came. So my love for football kind of went higher than basketball. And then freshman year, I was hurt the whole year, so the wanting to play college football was now just a thought. So worked the whole summer, got my body right, and then sophomore year came around, and I ended up being an all-state, all-prep player. And that was kind of the moment when I realized college football is probably going to be my route and something I think I can do.
Do you think your injury I know it definitely sucked when you were a freshman, but do you think it may have played a role in helping you build more muscle and get stronger and more prepared for football?
Yes, it was definitely the biggest blessing in disguise, looking in retrospect. Of course, it made our freshman year, I didn't know really quite what to do with myself. So academically, socially, athletically, I was purely downhill at that point. Life was kind of hard. So yeah, that summer, it opened up my eyes to I really got to start lifting and getting my body right. So I was in the weight room 4 days a week for 3 straight months, and it definitely played a vital role in how I am mentally now, and definitely impacts how I play.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, obviously, we all know you're now going to college for football. So, what kind of sparked that recruiting? Like, what was your recruiting process like? And were there any other schools that had interest in you?
Yeah, so the recruiting process for me, it was a short window, but it was a pretty stressful one. I'd say I didn't really hear anything from anybody after sophomore year for a good while, and then COVID hit. And COVID actually helped me a lot because that forced me to get Twitter, which is like the main platform for football, or at least I know for football, where football athletes meet the coaches and get in contact. So I got Twitter in March of 2020, and I was doing a lot of finding coaches, sending in DMs, sending my highlights, and I spent days on that, and I didn't hear from anybody, so there was a lot of days where I was wondering if I was good enough to do it. And then December, the first school finally responded to me. That was Columbia. And then about a month or so after, 2 months or so after them, Trinity came. So it started to pile on quickly, and then more schools reached out. And yeah, that's kind of how it started to roll.
So obviously, what you said, it takes guts to have the confidence to reach out to those coaches. Was there anything that boosted your confidence enough to want that to make you reach out and want to actually start getting recruited, even though COVID kind of stopped the recruiting process?
The hardest part for me sending the DMs was I always hated bragging on myself. I kind of let other people do that for me. But with Twitter and the DMs, you have to be your biggest self. You have to be a self advocate, which was pretty hard for me to transition to. So that was pretty difficult for me to do. But if you really want to do something, you kind of just have to suck it up and do what you have to do. So I started just sending them and had to brag about myself a little bit in there. And as time went on, I got more comfortable sending it. But yeah, when I was sending them, I wasn't really sending. I was pretty confident when I sent them because I felt like I described myself in the best way. But yeah, so it wasn't incredibly comfortable.
Yeah, I can understand that. So through your recruiting process, how has Coach Cleland helped you?
Oh, he was a really big help. He was pretty much straight up with me. He told me who was interested, who wasn't. I was always in communication with them from schools I heard from, and then he would get their coach's contact info, speak to them on the phone. So he played a pretty vital role. He was the one who actually made me get Twitter. So his role was huge.
So what ultimately convinced you to go to Dickinson College, even though you mentioned earlier Columbia was the first to reach out?
Dickinson, they had everything I was looking for academically and athletically. Their football culture is pretty set, and I really liked it. It's a hard-working mentality. Their motto is go through the smoke. So pretty much whatever you do, you just got to put your head down and just go through it, even if you don't know what's on the other side. The school also was the perfect size for me. Going to a big school was nice. Going to Columbia would be nice. I mean, it's pretty big, it's in New York, but I feel like I would be able to have a bigger impact on school life at a smaller school than a bigger one.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, how has being at St. Christopher's for all 13 years not only shaped your athletic career, but also your character and academic progression?
St. Chris taught me how to work hard, be honest, and be accountable. Work hard. The work here isn't easy, and sometimes it sucks to do, but you have to sometimes do what you don't want to do, which is either do an assignment you don't want to do, write a paper, or just do a little bit extra studying at night. That's a big thing that I'll take away when I leave here. Being honest, sometimes you just gotta tell the truth or be straight up with the teacher, tell them you don't know what's going on, or adults in general, because that's the only way they can truly help you. And also, if you get in trouble or something, the best thing to do is just live up to it, and the consequences, they'll be easier, but I mean, it's still gonna suck, but it'll be easier to take. And being accountable, I'm blessed to be in a leadership role, so being accountable is kind of something I have to do. I have to be places on time, lead, and be trusted with anything. So those are the three biggest values that I will take when I leave St. Chris.
Awesome. Yes, so do you think being, like you mentioned the leadership roles, do you think being in the student councils help you like build both your athletic, academic, and your character?
Student council, yes, it put me in a leadership role pretty early. It like started freshman year, so I had to have my head on straight, like the better term, to do better, and then also like I had to be purely accountable because I had to be in every meeting.
Yeah, of course. So for final question, obviously you've already had a very great career at St. Christopher's, playing on both sides of the ball, being a running back and a linebacker. So how do you hope to expand that legacy during your final year?
The only one thing left I haven't accomplished it, and that's a state championship. Something the school hasn't had, and being here since JK, that's something that I've grown up wanting to do. So that's the biggest goal, and especially since I'm in a position where I already know where I'm going to college, and I kind of get to have a free conscience. I got to be purely in the moment. Do everything practice by practice, play by play, game by game, and just be purely in the moment, and that will lead us to where we want to go.
Yeah, well, let's bring home that state championship. Thank you so much, Nikkos.
Thank you.